Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So nice to have you with us. So excited. I bet most of you, probably most excited that Passover is over and that you get to have chametz. I hope you have the traditional Jewish meal at the end. I think this covers Persian and Ashkenazi traditions of having pizza at the end of Passover. I think that the Slaters, did you have pizza? I think it covers all traditions. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to see the Slaters and we see the Rasbani Slaters for their anniversary. We are celebrating Israel. We have Yom Ha'atzmaut coming up, not this week, but the following week. This week, of course, we have Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Remembrance. And on Monday night, we have a program you'll be able to find at aliyahlive.org as we do all of our programs. And we're going to do it with Shomrei Torah. But we're celebrating Israel and the birth of a nation and its existence, even as they are in isolation as well. We're going to begin our service with, we're going to do Hatikva, and I'm going to try and figure out how to get those words up there. In the meantime, I can invite you to stand. You'll be able to, there you go. They're the words of Hatikva. And if you want to rise, we'll do it in Hebrew. You have transliteration there as well.
Together.
Oh, thank you, Chazan Steiner. Beautiful tikva, hope, not just of a Jewish state, but hope for all of us that we'll survive through this coronavirus, all with health and goodness. And so hope so important for us. Be able to follow along if you are in the Lev Shalem prayer book, which is also available on our website to download courtesy of the Rabbinical Assembly. And be able to follow along as well. We're going to, if you have the book, we're going to start with Or Zarua, page 16. Page 16, Or Zarua. And Chazan, this is a Yemenite tradition, so what instrument do you have there?
I have the oud, which is, let me bring it down a little bit so you can see it a little better. I have the oud, which is an instrument from ancient times. It could have been the Shminit. It could have been the Aseret. There are different instruments that are mentioned in Psalms. This has 11 strings, right? And the Asara had 10 strings. So it could be the same instrument, but probably not exactly the same. But if anybody tells you they know what it sounded like, they're not telling the truth. Imagine being there. Or Zarua Latzadi. Or Zarua Latzadi. Ul Yisrael Simcha. Ul Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua. Or Zerubbabel Tzadik. Or Zerubbabel Tzadik. Yisrael Simcha. Yisrael Simcha.
That was beautiful, Chazan. What a beautiful 11 strings. I had no idea.
Yep.
We're going to continue with Lachadodi, which many of you know, which welcomes in the Shabbat bride. On page 23, if you're in the Lev Shalem prayer book, you'll find the beginning of the Lachadodi, and then we're going to skip a couple of pages to Boi Chala. When we do that, we'll stand up. If you have a door near you you'd like to open and welcome in the Shabbat bride, be good to get that Shabbat fresh air in there with you as well. So let's join together Lachadodi.
And this is a very uniquely Israeli melody. Everybody knows. Lachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekala. Lachadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekala. Shamur v'zachor v'dibor echad, shmi'anu et amichad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Yesenu tiferet v'nidina. Lechadodi, Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekala. Likrat Shabbat, lechu b'necha, b'kol Adonai.
You can stand up if you wish and open up a door near you. Open up, welcome in the Shabbat as I think about the sanctuary we have here. Imagine you in sacred community as we continue Boi Chala.
Ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola. To'em am sinula, boi chala, Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekabla, Lechadodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat, lekabla.
Remain standing because the Baruch Hu, without the minyan that we have here on the virtual minyan, we wouldn't be able to do this prayer. It's an acknowledgement of the importance of community, and we join together with Chazan.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Leolam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavurach Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated now. Get comfortable. Pretend like you're just in your living room if you want to. Oh, I guess you are. There are some benefits. You don't always have to get dressed up to come to synagogue. I just feel like I have to get a little bit with a coat and a jacket. But on page 39a, we're going to continue with a little blessing of Uma Avir Yom.
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uben laila, Adonai Tzevaot Shebo, El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Limloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ama'arim Aravim.
We're going to continue page 40, Ahavat Olam. Chaz, this is an Israeli melody. What can you tell me about this?
Yeah. Erev Shel Shoshanim, which is a love song, and Ahavat Olam is a love song. So I thought we would mash them up, as we say in the modern world. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu Ubahem nege yomam balayla Ve'avatecha atasir mimenu Al tasir mimenu le'olami Baruch atah Adonai Oy Evavu
Dun, 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 dun. Just keep going with that.
You gotta dance, come on.
Oh my God. Oh, the Ahavat Olam, an introduction in terms of love. God loves us, and there we return with the words of affirmation of the Shema. So I invite you to close your eyes on these first 6 words of the Shema, oneness with God, to hear your own heartbeat, to hear your own sense of life, to just listen and to be still for a moment as Chazan leads us in the words of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha Bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
You can continue in Hebrew or English, or if you wish, just private thoughts of your heart about oneness with life, with God, with the essence of the universe as we continue silently.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Amen. So we have to, we're going to move on.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I got it.
It wasn't me, Rabbi. It wasn't me.
Well, that part, that was mine. I was on side. I didn't want to break that concentration. There we go. We're going to transition to Michamocha. And this is an Israeli version as well. I know we just celebrated the seventh day of Pesach. We just celebrated the crossing of the sea and singing of the Shirat Hayam Michamocha. So where's this melody come from?
Well, this melody is I heard this melody all the time in the at the kotel, at the wall. This is something that people were singing all the time. It's a Shlomo Carlebach, and we all know it, but it's something everyone knows and we can appreciate. So we'll all sing it together, especially the Nigun part of it. Nigun, here it goes. Lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, la lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai ya lai, mi hamocha, Elim Adonai, mi hamocha, nehedar b'kodesh, no God tehilo, no say melech, no God tehilo, no say melech, ma'arefutecha rachulu, v'necha b'teyaya, l'nei Moshe, Zehi, Anu ve'amu, Adonai Elon, le'olam va'ed. Ay, 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 lay, 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 ונאמר ויפדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו ביד חסד ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
In honor of this Shabbat for Israel, Chazal said, you're going to do Al Kol Eila, right?
Yes, I am.
Naomi Shemer wrote this in 1980. I believe, with on the bitterness and on the sweets. You know, you have to accept both of those. When you live in Israel, you have to accept both. Sometimes it'd be sweet, sometimes it'd be bitter, but that's the nature of life in general. It's, I think, a message for us as well during this coronavirus, that to find that sweetness amongst the bitterness. So those of you who know it can join along with us on Stein, or at least the chorus you may know. Kaz, take it away.
Yes. And then we're going to have an English translation that was written by Theodore Bickel of blessed memory. And I wanted to sing those words. It's so much like what we're going through today, the bitterness and the sweetness. Al hadvash v'ha'okeh, al hamad ve'hamatu, al bitenu ha'tinok shmoreli atu, al ha'ish ha'mivo eret, al ha'mayim hazakim, al ha'ish ha'shad ha'maita min ha'merchakim. Here we go. Al kol eilen, al kol eilen, shmor nani eli ato, al hadash ve'al ha'amudes, al hamad ve'hamatu, al natakor, al natakor natu, al tishkach et ha'tikvah, ashiveni ve'ashuva, ha'aretz ha'tova. Here's the beautiful English words as well. Guard what little I've been given. Guard the hill my child must climb. Let the fruit that's yet to ripen not be plucked before it's time. As the wind makes rustling night sounds and the star falls in its heart, and now my dreams and my desires make crystal shapes out of the dark. God for me, oh Lord, these treasures, all my friends keep safe and strong. Guard the stillness, guard the weeping, guard the singer and the song. For the sake of all these things, Lord, let your mercy be complete. Bless the sting and bless the honey. Bless the bitter, bless the sweet.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Chazan, for sharing that. We're going to continue with the service itself. Now back Vishamru, about covenant, Brit Olam, between us and God, the Shabbat. You'll find it page 46 if you're in the Lev Shalem, Vishamru.
And this melody, everyone thinks is from heaven, right? It's Mishamayim, and everyone sings it in Israel and everywhere, but it was written by a local rabbi right here in California. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam b'rizotam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat l'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam b'rizotam. אותי לעולם ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, רצו את השבת לדורות המדורים כולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המדורים כולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המדורים כולם.
So we just finished Passover, and I know you were all so grateful to be able to bring that chametz back in the house and to celebrate. For the second night, we've been doing what we call Sirat Omer, the counting of the Omer, which is 49 days. Well, actually, they say 50 days you're counting, 7 weeks until Shavuot. We today talk about connecting Passover to Shavuot, the giving of the law at Mount Sinai, if you will, to the Exodus, right? They left at Passover, they marched through the wilderness, and then they arrive at Mount Sinai, and then they receive the 10 Commandments. We make that connection of counting the Omer. In the Torah, it's actually very much associated with agriculture, counting the harvest days that bring those two holidays together. It was a harvest time. But many of you may know it as being a time of mourning. Do you know that? If you grew up in a traditional community, you know that during the time of the Omer, from Passover to Shavuot, except for Lag BaOmer, you didn't have weddings, you didn't have celebrations or parties, music, things like that. It was a period of mourning. So when did that happen? It really became in the Middle Ages. It became a period of mourning. You can imagine the Crusades and so much that was going on in Jewish life. That's, by the way, when Kaddish really becomes a part of Jewish life in the Yizkor service. And so we have this period of mourning, but there's an early tradition from the Talmud that talks about why it's a period of mourning. And they say there's a story that during this period from Passover to Lag BaOmer, the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiba, that they died. Now, how did they die? According to the Talmud, they died from a plague. I never thought much about that story until this year. And I thought about the plague, about the coronavirus. Brings a whole new meaning and connection to this time of year that we're in, where we've become isolated in our homes. Jewish tradition, this is a time in which there was a sense of mourning for those who had passed away. It's too strong a connection, I think, for this year, perhaps. Today, unfortunately, I don't know if you've been following, the death toll exceeded worldwide more than 150,000 people from COVID-19. In the US, we exceeded more than 36,000. Those are astronomical numbers. The idea of counting people in terms of loss and life is not so easy. I don't know if you know, but we have a superstition against counting people in the Jewish tradition. Did you know that? You're not supposed to count people. It comes from the Torah, in which when it was time for the census, rather than just counting the people, 1, 2, 3, 4, Moses commands the people that they should bring a half shekel, every person of age, and then they counted those and they'd be able then to know the census. Interesting that we have a census going on here as well in the United States. But there's a superstition from that story about counting people, that somehow you're not supposed to count the individuals. Maybe if you've ever gone to a synagogue minyan service or somewhere, and they trying to figure out whether they have enough people for the requisite minyan of 10, sometimes you'll hear people count not by 1, 2, 3, 4, but they'll actually say not 1, not 2, not 3. And that's the superstition about counting people. It's actually a verse from Psalms that some people use. Hoshiat amacha uvarech et nachlatecha urem v'nasem ad olam. 10 words if you count all those words up. And what does that mean? Save your people and bless your inheritance, tend them and elevate them forever. Isn't that when you count the people, you actually are elevating them, and you don't give them a number. When you think about giving people numbers, what do we think about? Think about the Holocaust. We think about how people were actually numbered on their arms. And we think about how when you turn somebody into a thing, a number, that's not right. And so we avoid turning people into numbers. You want to dehumanize somebody? You give them a number, like you go to prison and other places. That's how you dehumanize people. So we have these superstitions against counting people. And when we want to count them, we elevate them by coming up with some expressions and verses of Torah or from the Bible. And the same thing we do, by the way, when it comes to counting years of marriage. We give them special acknowledgments. So you may be most familiar with silver anniversary of 25 years. You may be familiar with the golden anniversary of 50 years. But I tonight learned about, or today when I was preparing, about year 4, right, is fruit or flowers, which I had no idea. And 30 is pearls. And so we're going to celebrate 2 couples who are having their anniversaries. And the first one is going to be the Slater family. And I'm going to unmute you. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Right? That's Ian and Emily and Samantha. How old is Samantha now? She's about 4 months. How old is she?
That's right.
Wow.
Another 4.
Well, another 4. So, I sent out some questions and people to answer. And the first one, complete this sentence. Not many people know it, but my spouse is really good at. And number 2 is I appreciate it most from my spouse. And then there's a blank. 3, what is the most memorable gift you've ever received from your spouse and why? And I think, Ian, that you were the one to answer this because I don't think Emily did, but I'm going to get you, Emily, in just a moment. Right? You wrote, she's good at remembering numbers, especially social security numbers and bank account numbers. Is that true? Is that true?
Who wrote that? Did I write that?
I think you did.
No, I wrote. Close.
Well, if you ever need another occupation, Emily, I think social security numbers and bank accounts, I won't say what profession that would be. I appreciate it most when my spouse, when she takes charge, all right? And when she gives me, what is the most memorable gift? This is beautiful. When she gave me a Snickers candy bar at our engagement party. As it is our tradition to exchange sweets for a sweet life together, you still have that candy bar.
This isn't us.
That's not you.
That's not us.
Wait, is that Sina? Is that Sina and Shirley? Oh, hold on. Well, so you know what? Oh, that's Sina and Shirley.
That's what Sina said about me, I think.
Oh, that's about you. Well, hold on a minute then.
That's funny.
All right, so hold on then. So let me go back to Slater. I'm going to come back to you then. We'll finish you, I promise. Because you're our Pearl anniversary. All right, Slaters, for some reason I don't have yours. I don't know why then, with apologies. So share with me, right? You're one like, really? Did somebody say that? So that should have been the first clue. Share with me, each of you then. Just tell me, what's the secret success of marriage, besides having that little adorable thing there that you're holding? Secret the success of your marriage.
Well, one thing, okay, well, let's see. I would start with, we smile at each other and we say, I love you every morning. And, but I think a big one is we picked up this little habit. It was at a Shabbaton, actually. And it's where we each claim that a given chore around the house is our job. So I'll say, no, honey, you can't do the dishes. That's my job. Or you might say,
no, that's my job.
And it helps keep everything sort of fresh and fun and adds sort of loving kindness to everything.
And working as a partnership rather than this is your work versus this is my work. We share it together.
That's wonderful. Being a part, having that partnership when you are in close quarters at home, I imagine has come in handy. Well, good. We want to wish you a happy 4 years. It's fruits or flowers. I'm not sure which one. You can have your pick, I guess. All right. So
Flowers.
happy flowers.
Okay.
We have a happy anniversary. Okay. Hold on. Now I'm going to get to. So, Rasbani's, those were your answers, huh?
Correct.
All right. So Shirley, you know all these numbers?
I'm very good at remembering numbers. Yeah, all the time.
That must be nice. And the Snickers bar. So wait, you still have the Snickers bar?
We do.
And how many years you've been married 30 years. This is your pearl anniversary. And that Snickers bar is over 30 years old?
Yes, it is. Well, it's more than 30 because we got it in our, we exchanged it in our engagement party, which was about a year prior, about 6 months prior to our wedding. So, Persians, they exchange sweets, not necessarily candy bar, but like really fancy sweets. But this was so simple and so wonderful that I thought it was absolutely amazing that she remembered to do such a thing.
That is so beautiful. And the other answers then were about Sina and his family. You said they used to own a restaurant in Portland. I didn't know that, Sina.
Yes.
And you actually learned how to cook?
Yes.
And so Shirley wrote here that you became a very good cook. Thousands of all kinds of dishes that you would make, but you would leave behind the pots and pans for her to clean. Is that true, Sina?
Well, we take turns. Somebody cooks, somebody washes. I always cook.
Not always. A lot.
But surely I imagine it's worth it cleaning those dishes for his food.
I'm sorry.
I imagine it's worth it cleaning those dishes just for his food.
Yeah, definitely.
And you appreciate it most when he just holds your hand, friendly conversations. And the most precious gift was a ring that he presented you with, right?
Yeah.
And so that's lovely. Well, we want to share with you our anniversary couples. We're going to share with you a blessing Chazan and I are going to share and going to welcome you and for 4 years and 30 years, each its own blessing.
42.
Oh, and Chazan Stein, it is your anniversary, 42 years.
42 years. Yes. I don't know how we lost the paper.
That's okay. And the secret of your success is, what would you say?
Love and care and respect, and we're good friends.
That's very nice. I don't know what 40, what, go ahead.
All right, now we say yes.
Oh, you always say yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure between flowers and silver and gold. I'm not sure if it's aluminum or something.
I like aluminum.
Might be copper. Tell you what, Chaz, why don't we?
The 30 was aluminum. He told me that was so.
Yeah, you didn't get those pearls. You got the aluminum. Chaz, let's share a blessing with these couples. Okay, go ahead. Come on, please. May the Lord bless you and keep you. We always enjoy relationships and life together. For the Slaters, for the Resbanias, for the Steins, and for all others, if you're celebrating an anniversary out there, we want to celebrate with you as well. And let's do a little bit of Simon Tov and Mazel Tov.
Right. Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, yeah.
Very sweet. We're going to continue in our service now with the Hatzi Kaddish. You'll find page 45.
Yitgada, Shemei Rabbah, ועמד ירח חירותי וימליך מלכותי וחיי כל יום ומכל וחיי כל בית ישראל בהגנה ובזמן קריב וידברו אמן יהי שמרה מבורך לעלם ועמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה במקום ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונשמתה דאמירן בעלמה במרוה.
I'm going to invite you to rise now for the silent Amidah. Chazan is going to take us through the Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, a little bit of meditation and a warm-up. And then we're going to go silently. It's going to give us some musical background just to help us feel the spirit of that Amidah together. But we'll begin with Adonai Sfatai, and then you'll trail off into your prayers of Hebrew or English if you have them in front of you, or your private meditations. Here we go.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfotai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagi. Ufi Yagi Tehilatem Ema. Na 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 Adonai Adonai Sfotai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagi Tehilatem Ema. Na 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 Adonai na 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 Sfotai Tiftach. Na 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 Ufi Yagi Tehilatem. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועמו ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועמו ישראל.
Kadish Shalem, we continue with.
יתגדל ויגדל שמי רבה, ועמד יברכילותי וימלך מלכותי בחייכון, ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, והגלה ולזמן קרי ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם מבורך, לעלם לעלמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר בדרמה מתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמרן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותון ודהון לכל בית ישראל, קדמו ונשמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במקומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen.
Kiddush, for those who didn't do it earlier with us, Chazan, I did Kiddush earlier with Chazan Mimi for those who went into dinner, but as part of our service, I'll hold up the Kiddush cup. Will you recite Kiddush for us, okay? Go ahead, please.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabat kodsho באהבה ורצון, ינחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית. יהיו יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. קיבלנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, שבת קודשך, ואהבה ורצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen. Since I held the Kiddush cup, do I get to drink it too? All right, here you go.
What kind is it?
All right, l'chaim. We're going to, I mentioned earlier about the counting of the Omer, these days from Passover to Shavuot. There's a blessing which precedes it with the typical Asher Kisham Misvotav, that Sivanu commanded us al Svirata Omer. And then we're going to count, and Chazan will lead us. Last night was the 8th night of the Omer. If you have the Siddur, by the way, it's on page 63. If not, we'll count along with us in terms of doing the blessing as well. Chazan.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer.
Amen.
היום 9 ימים שהם שבוע אחד, ושני ימים לעומר.
Today marks the 9th day of the Omer, which is 1 week and 2 days. We're going to rise, those of you who wish, so we can do Aleinu. Here we go.
עלינו לשבח לדור הכל, לתת גדולה להיות Hasanu Goye Hanatsot Velo Samanu Kamishvot Agama Shelo Sam Elkeinu Kahen V'Koranenu Kefo HaMonam Ma'anachnu Oreim Umishtachavim Umodim B'nei Melech Kaveh Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'Yosir Haaretz V'Moshav Yekavod HaShamayim V'Ma'ah Ushtina Tizor V'Goveh V'Elohim Eloheinu Elyon Emet Mateinu Emesupato Kakatu V'Torato V'Adat Hayom V'Hashemota Eloheinu Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Vashamayim V'Ya'aretz V'Ya'aretz Ki Za'at Eino Da'kein Mikabel Echad Nakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nehemar v'haya Adonai le'melech ha'ol haaretz, v'yom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, Shemo.
You can be seated. This is a moment of the Mourner's Kaddish, and for many of you, this is an important moment. This is the importance of being able to have community together, to have our minyan. And so this is the purpose of having a virtual minyan, so that we're not alone, that we are a community. And so on this Shabbat, remember the lives of those individuals who have gone before us, who touched us, and whose love still resides in our hearts and in this world. On this Shabbat, remember the yortzites of Lillian Gittleson, Reuben Perlman, Sam Tuchton, Lillian Baker, Cy Birnbaum, Sylvia Goldstein, Diane Purchase, Malcolm Schatz, Frida Feinberg, Irving Gilbert, Sandra Greenspoon, Samuel Lichter, William Olshan, Daniel Schachter, Leah Schnittman, George Feidelberg, Frank Goldsmith, Abraham Gorbachinsky, Rona Gross, Isabel Hanberg, Seymour Kudovitsky, Bernard Wohl, Herman Bulovsky, Tilly Garber, Ruben Goldstein, Albert Harwin, Barry Horwitz, Seymour Kamzan, Selma Massman, Hilaria Ruiz, Helene Westerman, Sam Axelrad, Albert Churi, Lloyd Farber, Fran Kaufman, Rose Krifcher, Theodore Sachs, Rose Wiseman, Barbara Lichtman, Jean Mason, Saul Miller, Albert Noah, Michelle Schwartz, Paul Spiegel, and Manya Uberbaum. If you're remembering someone there that I didn't announce and call their name, please just say it aloud so you can hear it, and just remind yourself in terms of you will share the relationship with you, and we're going to be able to remember them as well. We're also mindful of the recent bereavement that just took place today, I believe. Sidney Samuels, the father of David Samuels, our past president. He had been ill for some time. He passed away. Funeral will take place sometime in the coming week, and our condolences go out to the Samuels family. For all those who have need or desire to recite the Kaddish at this time, I invite you to rise, and we'll recite the words of the Kaddish together. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. Amen. V'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael bagala ubizman kariv v'meru Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam umei umaya Yitbarach Yishabach Yitpa'ar Yitromam Yitnaseh Yithadar Yitalev Yithalal Shemei Dekudisha Brichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechamata Damiran B'Alma V'Meru Amen Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Meru Amen Oseh Shalom B'Roma Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Meru Amen. May God establish his peace in the heavens, grant peace and harmony for us, for all of Israel and all of humanity. As we all say, go ahead. Amen. Reminder, our services tomorrow are going to be 10 a.m. We've been starting them later. They go till about 11:45, and lots of music, and we hope that you will join us as well. Sunday night, by the way, Lisa Kobe Lopez, our community caring director, who's a licensed social worker, and I will be running a special session for individuals involved in medical profession and who are at the front line, if you will, of dealing with people, dealing with COVID-19. If you're interested, you have to go online and find it and register, because it's a special web and link and then code that's your password. It's gonna be given you because we don't just want anybody being able to get on. So you can sign up and automatically you'll get that in response. So you can still sign up for that. And we have Monday night, as I mentioned, Yom HaShoah, virtual acknowledgement with Shomer Torah Synagogue beginning at 7:30 in the evening. I think minyan starts at 7:15. There's a link for a log on as well. And as always, aliyahlive.org is your best website domain. You can go to our templealiyah.org, but if you go to aliyahlive.org, you're going to get all the things that we offer in terms of live streaming and quick links there. And we're going to conclude with a Adon Olam, but Slater's and Rasbani, I'm going to take you off as well. You're mute so that you can just give one more Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Go ahead, give Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're so glad to be able to share your anniversaries with you. And Mazal Tov. Let's take it home. Chazan, we're going to do Adon Olam.
Yes, and I'm so proud of Israel because it's the only nation in the world that I know of that the songs from our liturgy, from our Siddur, become popular hits. So here's the one that everybody knows that was a winner of one of the contests in Eurovision. Okay? Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Veit Nasa, B'chetzo Kol, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei, Tichlot HaKol, Levado, Lo Nora, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hoveh, Ve'hu Yeh, V'tifarah. Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'it Nasa V'chetzo Zay Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Tichlot HaKol Levado Yilom Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu Yeh V'tifarah. Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'it Nasa V'chetzo Zay Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Tichlot HaKol Levado Yilom Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'tifarah. Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'tifarah. Ve'hu Echad Ve'ein Sheni L'hamshiro L'hasbira Ve'lineshi Ve'litachlit Ve'lo ha'oz Ve'ha'misra Ve'hu Eli Ve'chaino Ali Ve'tzor Chevli Ve'en Sarah Olam Hashem Alach B'Terem Kol Yetzir Ne'Ralei Nasam B'Chetzim Azay Melech Shemoni V'Achari Kivod Akol V'Vadu Yimdok V'Radahu V'Yadahu V'Vehu Yiyeh B'Tzipah Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'Terem Kol Yetzir Ne'Ralei Nasam B'Chetzim Kol Azay Melech Shemoni V'Achari Kivod Akol V'Vadu Yimdok V'Vehu V'Yadahu V'Tzipah V'Hu V'Yadahu V'Tzipah Yahadol Hafiduti Be'etisha Be'ahira Be'imuchi Geriati Adonai li Adonai li Beroi Don't know Hashem Alach B'Terem Kol Yetzir Ne'Ralei Nasam B'Chetzim Kol Azay Melech Shemoni V'Achari Kivod Akol V'Vadu Yimdok V'Radahu V'Yadahu V'Vehu Yiyeh B'Tzipah Adon Olam Hashem Alach B'Terem Kol Yetzir Ne'Ralei Nasam B'Chetzim Kol Azay Melech Shemoni V'Achari Kivod Akol V'Vadu V'Radahu V'Yadahu B'Tzipah V'Hu Hey!
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat shalom lekulam.